Alright, what's up guys, Fuffin here, and I've got the TeamFight Tactics patch 10.23 rundown for you here. So, before I get into this, obviously, my YouTube uploading hasn't been the best, whatever. I haven't played much of the last few patches because I haven't been a fan of the meta. The meta that we are in right now, 1022B, I think is pretty decent. I've been having a lot of success on a couple of alt accounts, just trying to see what works again, due to not playing the game for so long. But yeah, I've seen a couple things on this patch, so I don't know if they'll go into too many details, but without further ado, let's just hop into it. So, some changes with Fortune are coming in. I'm not going to read this. Okay. So, we got buffs to Keeper, Divine, Zed, Akali, Katarina, Kalista, Lilia, Lee Sin, Kane, nerfs to Hunter, Dazzler, Talon, Ashe, and Warwick. Now, if you remember, they actually nerfed Ninja last patch, and 3 of the ninjas here are getting some form of buff or, as it says here, adjustment. And then, yeah, the Cultist, Kennen, Ari getting adjusted and rework on Aphelios and Zinjao. So, I mean, it's these last two categories are kind of they mix it together. In together. Okay. Wow, we actually got some new little legends. Okay, no Dengos. No Dengos, no Hauntlings. So, if you like them, they look cool, go crazy. So we've made improvements to the champion movement logic that should result in more consistent and expected behavior at the start of fights, blah, blah. So this has been a really big issue for me personally, and I don't know if it's been that I've been paying attention more as I've been learning set 4, but there's a lot of instances in which champions will do nothing for the first at least half a second, if not full second of combat. For example, there's times where you'll have an Elise and a Twisted Fate at the end, or at the beginning of the game, and sometimes they just won't move, at all. Or alternatively, they'll have weird pathing, or Ashe will run all the way across the map, even though she has things in her attack range. So I think that this is a nice band-aid, but I think that something needs to be done on a bigger scale with how champion targeting goes, because as it stands right now, it seems like there's too big of a gap in when it refreshes targeting. Now, if you don't know this already, I have a positioning guide out that actually talks about the combat specifics of how champions will actually do combat. And just to say here, obviously, combat will start, and then every champion on your team will start scanning from the first row to the last row to see if there's a champion there. Now, to my knowledge, it does that from the point of last scanned. So, I don't know really how to explain this, but if where your champion is scanning is at the front row of the enemy team, and you have an assassin jump on you, it will wait until it has finished scanning for a separate target somewhere else. So if there's a target that would happen right after that point that you could get to, it actually won't target the assassin that's on you. And I think that that's been an issue for a lot of solo carry champions like that move up. But I think that maybe making that refresh rate a little bit faster to where there's not a full second, because that extra time will cause the ranged champions to lock onto things that maybe aren't as strong. So I think that this is a change that we need to see in action. I mean, if this is the change that I'm talking about, then I am fully fine to eat everything I just said and completely congratulate everybody on this change, because it's not a horrible change for people who are fine with moving things around, but understanding positioning on very finite levels can get really difficult for a lot of players. I hope that this doesn't make certain positionings completely obsolete. I know there's a couple positionings where you position melees in a certain way, and then ranged in a certain way, and then you basically block a champion from moving. and make them run around a specific area. So I guess we'll see what exactly this is. Mort had mentioned something about if a champion is farther away, they might stutter step. So again, this is a change we need to see in action before we can have any big things. But I wanted to touch on that point because it's something that I've definitely been thinking about ever since hearing about this change, honestly. And, just playing set 4. So we got Cultist Changes. So the Chosen Cultist is apparently overperforming. I don't remember if I mentioned this in the last one, but I think whatever number they were doing was causing some issues. I don't remember if it counted as double, but I think I would have personally wanted to count it as 1.5 or 1.75, or I don't remember exactly. But it was pretty big. Especially because I know there was a couple comps that tried to run level 3 TF or Elise, and with Cultist it would be pretty decent, but the thing is they just don't do well at the later stages of the game usually, because at the end of the day you can't really build a comp around a champion like Galio. Even the mech had some issues up until the end of set 3-5, where the mech could be a great damage sponge and could do a decent bit of damage and even CC with the demolition trait. However, a lot of your power was coming from somewhere else up until the Hodge Titans whole thing at the end. Most of your power was usually coming from either your Kaisa Kale in set 3, or maybe Shaco or Victor. I have trouble remembering the last sets and metas, but yeah. So the mech you could add items to and make stronger, and could be, I think, significantly stronger than Galio. And it was just, you had more control and everything. So Cultist has an issue where you don't really, you use it as a damage sponge, so making it super strong isn't really good. Because then, it just pops out, It's really hard to balance something like this. Especially because when you played mech, you lost 3 champions. That's what mech was, because when the mech pilots were ejected, they usually were pretty worthless. They might ult sometimes, but they were not, worth anything. Cultist is trading off a trait. So that's why it's kind of hard to really see where this could work. I had just thought that Cultist was going to be just like mech, but that's not the case. And basically what they're doing here is they're giving Galio a little bit more mana, and they're reducing his health at both 6 and 9, and they're greatly reducing his AD. I know that these numbers are kind of hard to understand, but for instance, 80 AD is 5 swords or something. So yeah, basically the Cultist lets you play something like Jhin as a carry and not really losing anything for it, besides not having a trait, I suppose. But this meta is very weird and different to how set 3 was, but I guess I'll get to that in a little bit here. Other trait changes. We got Dazzler's AD at 2 is going down, and Divine bonus true damage is getting reverted. However, its duration is going down. So I think that the Dazzler change is is fine. Morgana's really good. And I mean, the thing is, Dazzler is 8 seconds or something, and QSS is 7. So even if you have Quicksilver and you're running Morgana, eventually Dazzler is gonna touch whatever is getting targeted or whatever. And it's just a lot of AD, honestly, for the duration. And, you know, it's a 2 trait. If it was a 3 trait, it would be really fine at, you know, 50, 60%, but it's not, so. Hunter's damage is, going down at all levels, it looks like. I think that this is fine, because... Well, okay, first off, I think that there's probably an issue or a bug or something with Hunter, because the timer that it's on seems kind of arbitrary. I feel like there's been fights that I've had where combat will immediately start and then one of my champions die. Like, it ticks at a 0 point. So combat starts, and then the timer of combat starts ticking down from, you know, 20, 30 seconds or whatever. And immediately, Hunter is triggered. And I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. I think it's supposed to start from the 0 point, meaning that it has to count for, you know, like every 3 seconds or whatever. Like every 3 seconds. So you go, you know, 0, combat starts. And then you go 1, 2, 3, Hunter triggers. But what I've noticed sometimes is that Hunter will just immediately target. So it's like it's starting at 3 or at like 2.59, you know, milliseconds or whatever before it would trigger. So I'm not sure. And there's a very common bug that the Hunter bonus will like trigger during the like right before the planning stage. It's a visual bug. Nothing actually happens. But it just leads me to believe that Hunter timer is non-stop ticking. And that causes some really big inconsistency issues with play. Because I think that, you know, I've played Brawler Ash before. And because I'm running 8 Brawlers, immediately my fight starts and then my Ash dies. So, I don't think that's okay. But I guess that'll be something that gets addressed at some other time. Fortune, new loot tables for 10, 11, and 12 lost streaks. It's a bait. And I don't know how much I like this change. The only way that I think this would be a good change, honestly, is if they made it up to like 14 lost streaks, I think. No. It'd have to be 15. Yeah, it'd have to be 15. Because making it to 10, 11, and 12 actually takes away one of the bigger problems that you can have with Fortune. Unless this 10th point is really, really good. If this 10th point is really good, then, you know, it's I don't know. It's really hard to say, because the thing with Fortune is if you get Fortune at the start of the game, at 2-1, and you go to 9 losses, you are at the round right before the PvE. So ideally, you also want to lose that round for streak gold, but you also want to cash in on Fortune because, you know, prior to this patch, you would have no 10. 10 wouldn't exist. It's a net loss at that point to actually lose that round to not streak, because you're losing out on like 5+ gold. So adding in this means that the 10 will be, if it's good enough, then it doesn't even matter if you win or lose. And that I think is a issue in general with Fortune, but I think that it at this point, why even add these? Because at 12 losses, you are at like 20 health. So at this point, you might as well just make the loot table up to 15, and then people can just, you know, 0-15 the game or whatever. But yeah, Keeper shield duration is going up, and the Keeper shield value at 6 keepers is going up. So it's really hard to say if this is going to be really overpowered, because Chosen Keeper is a thing, and it counts as a lot. So I think that this is actually just a buff to Riven, honestly. I can see Divine Riven meta coming back. So, and Divine only because Warwick can still use Shiv and can still do a decent bit of damage, and Shiv just tears through shields. So it's a weird meta, I guess. Champions. Aphelios' extreme synergy with Rage Blade has forced him into an overall weak balance state when he doesn't have the item. So removing his turret's ability to proc on attack effects or grant him mana. Alright. I saw this and I don't like this. So the thing with Aphelios, at this point Aphelios should be removed from the game. Like he should not actually exist in the game, honestly. If you take one of Xayah's skins, make it white, get one of the Xayah chromas, like a white chroma, and make Xayah an Aphelios like replacement. At that point, it's just better. Like, make Xayah a Hunter Moonlight and just remove Aphelios from the game, please. Because Aphelios at the base level is just a weaker Xayah, right? And this is something that hasn't really been talked about a lot. But in essence, Aphelios just makes himself attack twice as fast or whatever. Xayah, I believe at one point gave you like 100% attack speed. It's the same thing. And if you're not even doing on-hit effects, the way they want you to build Aphelios is with, like, Spear of Shojin, because that's the only thing that will actually gain you mana. And I don't even know, because all of the, like, on-hit stuff is just not even going to be... So, like, Spear of Shojin, Giant Slayer, and still Rageblade? I don't know. I liked Aphelios, like, a few patches ago. Like, obviously, when the GA thing was happening, that was an issue. But, like, he was fun if you got Rageblade on him. That was it, It's just like Zed. Like, nobody, like, there's a Zed buff here. Nobody's complaining about the Zed build right now because it's necessary. Zed requires 3, like, items, very specific items, and that's Rapid Fire Cannon, Runons, and Quicksilver Sash. Now, I think that you can swap out maybe Quicksilver with Guardian Angel, but this is still the same concept. Nobody is mad that Zed requires Rapid Fire Cannon, It's just like Master Yi required Rapid Fire Cannon. Nobody is mad that Aphelios needs Rageblade. And I think that taking away that, at least, just kind of makes, like, in all the... This is the only champion I know that, like, they're actively trying to not make it use on-hit effects. And at this point, please, just remove Aphelios. If possible, add Xayah back into the game. I think that, at this point, the champion is just way too much for people. And, I mean, this looks like someone's trying to make, like, Shojin Rageblade Aphelios a thing. But the problem is that you're losing value on Rageblade and Runons if you so choose to go that route. So what? I just don't know what the direction is here, I guess, is the best way to put it. I guess build Shojin. Build Shojin on Aphelios with, like, Infinity Edge, Giant Slayer, something. QS, I guess. I don't know. Interesting. And then Aphelios' attack speed is going up, obviously to compensate for the Rageblade, because if you've ever played Aphelios without Rageblade, it's not very fun. And the thing is, this is just a net nerf to Rageblade Aphelios. People are still going to build it. I'm convinced people are still going to build Rageblade Aphelios. He just doesn't attack as fast, and I mean, his turrets are... Okay, I'm just rereading this. His turrets will still have his attack speed. So, that's not going to be an issue. His turrets are just going to not attack as fast for the first one or two. So, Zed, we have attack damage steal buff and bonus damage buff. Zed is not in a good spot right now, and I think this will probably help him, but we'll see. Ninjas are kind of a niche build, and I do kind of hate to see them go. Akali's attack speed's going up. Okay. I don't know exactly what this means, if it's going to be like an extra auto in between every ultimate, but I guess we'll find out. Unless there's a attack speed Kali build I don't know about. Katarina is getting a buff at all levels. The thing is, I think Warlords are going to be really strong in a few patches. Like, ridiculously strong. Because they're getting a lot of buffs to a lot of things that kind of aren't the issue. So, the problem with Katarina right now in the game is that she doesn't ult fast enough before dying. And people have tried to remedy this. There was a build where I believe it was Hand of Justice, Gunblade, and ZZ Rot. Or it was Hand of Justice, ZZ Rot, and Quicksilver. Something along those lines. Basically, something that lets you heal, so either Gunblade or Hand of Justice. And then Quicksilver Sash, which is absolutely necessary, and then ZZ Rot Portal on Katarina. And what that does is it makes everything attack Katarina at the start of the fight so that she gains her mana. But the issue is, like, she has to survive that. So these buffs are going to be really good for Cat 1. And I mean, like I said, like, this is a Cat 1 buff. It's not buffing Cat 2 or Cat 3. But, like, the issue is not her damage like this, and being a Warlord champion, you just can't do a lot of little things, because, I mean, if they are winning too much, they spiral out of control, and if they're losing too much, you lose really hard early. So, they're like cybernetics, only without a easy safety net. So, Kalista is getting damage up at level 3. So, I don't know about this change. People aren't really chasing level 3 Kalista. So, it is what it is. Kennen's armor and magic resist are going up. I think this is fine. I mean, Kennen already is a really strong champion in some circumstances, but... And then Kennen's spell damage is going down. Okay. Yeah, I mean, nobody used Kennen for his damage, right? Xin Zhao's getting a rework. Okay, so... That's the only thing that's getting a... Okay. So, Xin Zhao's rework is actually decent, I think. Basically, he's going to do his spinny damage thing, but then he's just going to gain defensive stats. So, he's probably going to be weaker, in the sense that basically he would be able to, like, tank damage from the enemy backline really easy, but, I mean, now, we just got to see what this does. Like I was saying, Warlords... I think they're going to be decent. And this is also activating a whole lot less. So, I think we just got to see how this rework goes. And they're making it able to crit. Because I believe that this still counts as an auto attack. Yeah, this counts as an auto attack still. In hopes that he becomes a good item carrier for AD items. Alright. I think it could work, but it's just a interesting thought to have. Ahri is a champion who can dominate an entire combat if she has the right items. Okay, I'm going to skip over this because we all know what Ahri does. Okay, actually, an aside, we're looking to replace Fear with an entirely different mechanic. Talon can be a bit oppressive to fight against. Okay. So Ahri has channel that can be interrupted. And she'll release her orb early. So... I guess we'll see. Drop my phone. I'm not cutting that out of the video. Ari's damage is going up at 1 and 2 stars. So I believe this is close to what it was last patch. And then, okay, and then Ash's health and armor is going down. So I'll touch on that in a sec here. Sejuani's starting total mana is going up. So this is just her first cast. Sejuani is really strong in a lot of cases, but this will make her first cast just take a little bit longer. So I don't think it's a big change. Or it makes her subsequent cast take a bit longer. Her first cast is the same speed. But I don't think it's really that big of an issue. She's a very strong champion. Her stats are kind of crazy if you ever get a chance to look at them in game. Talon's kill reset targeting is from highest damage dealt to lowest armor. So I'm really iffy on this change, but it does. You know, when I saw this, I was like, okay, well, I think Talon's dead. But then I got to thinking about it, right? And basically, the way that you would play Talon before is you just either toss it on a exposed carry, or you toss it on a unit that would die quickly, i.e. an Azir soldier. Because what would happen is you would have Talon kill the Azir soldier or whatever, and then immediately one-shot the carry. But the issue would come with if you got, like, outpositioned, and it got stuck on, like, a Sejuani. However, now this is going to, in essence, do a similar thing. Because lowest armor usually still means one of the carries. The thing that I can say to this is build Bramble Vest on one of your carries, and you will never have any problems with Talon. Hopefully, again. But you know, we just gotta see what happens with this. I can definitely see something like Jhin, like, eating a bunch of Talon ultimates, because, you know, he has like a low armor, and then Talon will kill something, jump onto Jhin, you know, hit Jhin, maybe Jhin has GA, maybe it's, you know, with the Cultist, there's a Zillion, so maybe Zillion ult, and then Talon goes kills something else, and then jumps back on the Jhin. But, you know, that won't happen if you have Bramble Vest. But this is, you have different ways to combat Talon now. Now, playing against Talon is a lot less on positioning and is more on itemizing, if that makes sense. You'll still have to position against him, don't get me wrong. You usually don't want him to get his first reset, because he can kind of spiral out of control. And I don't know what this means, because Talon's leap time is really inconsistent. Sometimes it would be kind of like the way I can describe it is there'd be some times where he would leap like he's jumping over the walls with his E, like from Summoner's Rift, and then there'd be times where he would be jumping with his Q. And I don't know if it's like the amount of resets that he would have, but there'd be some times where he would take a while to jump to his next target. And then there would be other times where he's pretty much blinking around the map. So, I was hoping that they would give some sort of clarity on this, like if it's from 0.2 seconds to 0.175 or something. But that's not information that I think we have access to, unless I'm right about the consecutive ultimates. But that's just a guess. It's just me observing. Warwick's fear duration going down at 1 and 2. I think this is a good change. You know, I don't think it's, you know. Warwick's attack speed's going down. And then Warwick's spell could fail if he performed a hunter attack during it. So, big bug fix and pretty sizable nerfs. And, you know, if you, I don't know how to, if you like the fear was really strong and kind of infuriating to play against, but like Warwick is still decent. You're just not going to be able to play him as like your go-to in every, like, divine comp. Like, people are probably going to have to start itemizing Lux Jax or, like, something Ash with Divine Spatula. So, Lilia is getting a, you know, like, 1 auto attack mana thing buff. Okay, and then 3-star Lee Sin's Knockout Punch hits an area around the primary target and knocks out any enemies directly hit regardless of their board position. So this is just highlight reel. I guess there's gonna, like, expect a video of someone playing Fortune and going for 3-star Lee Sin. Good luck. And Kane's Reaper targeting has been adjusted to be more consistent. So after the original Kane bug fix, everybody thought that Kane would be really strong. And then there was kind of like another bug with him that made him pretty much equally as weak. So hopefully this brings Kane back into the fold, but really hard to say if that's, you know, going to happen. So fixed a bug where spells would not work if they were connected to an auto attack that was already critting. I don't know what this means exactly. Because Vayne is one of the only examples I can think of right off the top of my head. I can also think of, like, Talon. But I don't think anyone's going to be building Jeweled Gauntlet Talon. I mean, I don't know if it counts. But, I mean, for everybody playing Vayne Reroll, go hard. Mobile, the item panel will no longer automatically switch back to the trait tracker when the shop opens. Congratulations. Mobile, you get some love. That'll do it for this patch. I guess general thoughts is, like, I mean, I don't like the Talon nerfs, honestly. If it is a nerf, I mean, if there's some other itemization that comes out of this, I guess we'll see. But, you know, I think we can expect the meta to not really change that much. I don't know. There's not really much to say. There's a lot of things that I think people are going to try out. So, you know, get out there, do what you can with it. And, yeah, that'll be it for this one. I'll let you guys get on out of here. Have a good one. Peace, peace.